Welcome to Garden Cafe. I'm Maureen, and this is my Texas Zone 8B 9A garden. Today I'm going to be propagating Texas sage, and I'm going to be starting Mossrose seeds. It's going to be a first, so that's why it's all an experiment. I have propagated my Rose of Sharon very successfully. Let me show you some of those. These are propagation experiments I did last year. As you can see, they're growing quite a bit, and they're finally starting to put off flowers and buds. And that's another one right there. I have several throughout the yard. This is my Texas sage. Now, it was here when we bought the house, so we're talking 25 years ago. So I'm sure this has got to be going on about 30 years. It maybe gives us one tiny little flower, and I'm going to post photos of the areas where I've seen them in full bloom. So want those in full bloom. Clearly this area, it gets an hour or two, maybe 3 of sun, as you can see it's getting right now. But the rest of the day, once the sun goes over the house, this is in total shade for the rest of the day. And my sister keeps telling me it's just not getting enough sun. Well, she went and got some Texas sage, and hers are blooming beautifully, but they're in bright, brutal sun all day long. She suggested we dig this up. 30 years, folks. I have no interest at all. Not only that, but it kind of blocks a little bit of the air conditioning unit. So, and it's pretty and it's green. I just figure I'm going to leave this here. So I was thinking I'll buy a Texas sage, a smaller one like she did, and let it grow in an area. But then, because of my success in propagating the Rose of Sharon's, I thought, why not propagate these? Now, I did watch some YouTube videos, and the procedure of propagating these seems to be very similar to the Rose of Sharon. But I did get a few new tips that I'm going to try. So first is to get a cutting. So in propagating Texas sage, as in propagating Rose of Sharon, you want brown wood, not this green, light green new growth. You want brown, and you want the stem to be at least pencil thick. I'm just going through deciding which one I want to cut. And I'm going to try to do 6 cuttings. All right, I think I found one. Let me bring in here. I think we're going to go with this one here. It's the right thickness, and it's definitely woody. I'm going to cut it back pretty far. Okay. All right. And this is the branch we're going to use to propagate. For the Texas sage cuttings, I am not using anything really special. This is just a bag of soil, potting soil I got from Walmart, and it will do absolutely fine for the Texas sage. I'm going to mix some of what I learned online, which is super interesting, and some of the techniques that I actually used successfully, oops, a bug on here, while propagating the Rose of Sharon. All right, so the way I do it is you have to, when you do the propagating, you have to make sure that whatever sections you use, the part that goes into the soil is the part that was closest to the base of the plant. You don't want to plant them upside down because they will not grow properly. So you have to make sure they're upright. Now, once you cut them, it's a little more difficult to tell. So the trick I used with the Rose of Sharon is I cut these at an angle. So the part that goes into the soil is the point at an angle, and the part that is going to be up right out of the soil is cut straight. And now I'm going to do, I don't know, 4 or 5 inch, maybe even 6-inch sections. So straight across, so you know when you put it in the soil, the part that has the point on it that goes in the soil. The part that's flat is on top above the soil. I'll give you a little more of a close-up view for the next cutting. And I'm only doing 6 here, as I did with the pots. All right, so this last part that we just cut, that's straight because I cut it straight so that we know which way this is oriented. So now I'm just going to cut this at an angle. Again, it helps nothing with the growing. It just makes it real clear to me what direction, what part of the stick, what side of the stick am I going to put in the soil. And it's always going to be that pointed one. And then again, I'll cut up here. So that's 2. All right, I'm going to finish these. I'm going to do a total of 6. Okay, so I did a few more than 6. That's okay. I'll just put a few of the bigger, the smaller ones together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we'll do it that way. All right, so again, all the points are going to go into the soil on the top. They will be above the soil. One of the tips that I learned online that I have never tried before is putting this cellophane tape, and that's literally, I mean, it's not even tape, it's just plastic wrap, but it's just in a tape form, is to wrap the top of each of the cuttings in this cellophane plastic wrap, and apparently it keeps it from drying out and makes your propagations more successful. I have no idea. We're going to give it a try in the spirit of Garden Cafe. It's all an experiment. So I'm going to put this on all of them. I did an experiment in an earlier video on using rooting hormone versus using actual aloe, and I had better results from the aloe. And I do have that. That's also in past videos. So basically, it's pretty easy. Just cut off a leaf, and this is what we're going to use to propagate the Texas sage. Okay, they're wrapped, but frankly, the plastic is not, sticking to itself the same way you would, that cling wrap would. Actually, maybe even cling wrap would be a better idea. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to be messing with these much. They're going to stay in the same location. So we'll give it a try. Oh, bringing down the pots that I've already filled. And the aloe vera that I already cut. Again, the point, and of course we wrap the top with plastic. So at this point it's sort of easy to know which side goes in. I'm just going to dip it in the aloe and then put it in the soil. Now these will be in a dark location. Sounds really pretty much like Rose of Sharon at this point. A dark location, and you have to water them every single day. And should see some growth in a couple of weeks. Look at that plastic wrap. It's just coming right undone. I don't know. I imagine as long as there's plastic going over the top, it will have what it needs for the tip to not dry out as rapidly. Okay. I know 4 of these. I said we're going to go 2 and 2. I'm just going to spread these out. But this area of the front porch will be the best place for this. This is actually the same location that I put the Rose of Sharon when I did them, and just about every propagation attempt was successful doing that. These here are zinnias that I have to plant out into the yard and just haven't been able to get to yet. Okay, so we're finished with this one for the moment. Actually, I have to water it very well. Again, it's very important to water these every single day until you start seeing growth. As with any hobby or anything you enjoy doing, there are always those tasks involved that are really not fun in any way. Edging. There is so much edging to do in my yard. That is not a fun day. Fertilizing. Absolutely everything. Not a fun day. I'm always going for the planting, the seed starting, the propagation, the fun stuff. So what I've decided to do this year, and so far I really enjoy it, is I will do one of those work tasks that are so important for my garden to be successful. Um, I'll just edge the front yard and around the front swoop gardens. And then I'll go on to do my stuff that I enjoy. Then I will edge this side yard and then go on to something that I really enjoy. So that way, every single day, I'm getting a task or a chore out of the way that is not so fun, but I'm also doing something that I always love doing. So try to think about how it works for you. For some people, they'd rather get all the work done in one day and then spend whatever other days that they're out there or doing their hobbies enjoying it. All up to you. The other planting I'm going to do today is I'm going to do Moss Rose Seeds Happy Hour Mix, and I'll put a picture. I'm going to put 10 of them in to the Arrow Garden, or excuse me, LetPot. I have always had Arrow Gardens. This is the first time I had a LetPot. Really impressed with the earlier results of using this versus soil. So I will be planting in soil as well. And I will show you the video showing you the differences between the two of my first attempt in the LetPot versus soil. So 10 will go in here of these, and then 10 will go in the soil. LetPot is pretty simple. It has these cages that you put in here. And then inside the cages, you put these sponges. These are the grow sponges. This is where the seeds go in. And you can see this little hole in the top. That's where the seed goes. And you just literally drop them in. Now, you know, they are obviously dry, so they will expand to the size of the cage as soon as the water starts flowing. Now, I'm not going to add the water until I put it inside. This is going to be in my grow room in the house. So obviously I don't want to carry it filled with water. All right, let me get that undone. And these systems aren't really that pricey anymore, but you can buy the cages, the sponges, and the domes because it acts like a little greenhouse until the plant actually germinates, and then you remove it. So, okay, now we got to get the seeds in there. And again, these are Mossrose Happy Hour Mix. And these seeds are normally teeny weeny little itty bitty black dots. Let me see if I can get this closer. They come in a little container. The dots are itty bitty, the seeds are itty bitty, teeny weeny little specks. So I like to buy seeds that are this small, pelleted. It's called pelleted. And it's basically the seeds, each seed is coated in this little coating that just makes it easier to handle and easier to see. And you'll be able to tell much easier where these are going and how many you're putting in there. So my plan is just to put one seed in each one of these, and I'll show you one and then I'll put fast forward on the rest. And pull this up. Take a few out. Woo! Yeah, even pelleted. These guys are tiny, tiny, tiny. I just close that back up so I don't lose any more. And just lift the sponge like that. Take a seed, put it in the hole. And this one you can actually see. among the seeds. Goodness sakes, I don't know where my brain is these days. All right, so this is basically all set. I'm going to bring it in. Well, it is sticking with this one. I'm going to bring it in. I'll put water in the reservoir. It has a water level here that will show me when it's full. And the rest is on my cell phone. It's just so cool. It's one of the big differences between the LetPot system and the AeroGarden. And I can basically do everything on my phone. So cool. I can set the amount of light it gets per day. And these seeds need light to germinate. It will also set the time that the water circulation, there's like a pump inside here that circulates the water through. It's a really good system. Strongly recommend you take a look at my video where I first set this up and first used it. I think you'll find it really interesting. And honestly, as I said, I will follow this section with planting these Mossrose seeds with the update on the previous LetPot versus soil experiment updates. Again, strong recommendation. Check it out. And whether you go with AeroGarden, LetPot, apparently there are quite a few of these systems available now. Honestly, so far, this one is definitely my favorite. And for the soil part, I'm going to use one of my 12 cell containers. I reuse these all the time, as you can see. So here's the container, 12 cells. I'll put soil in these. It will go into this container, which I will fill with 50% with water, and then put the seeds in. And then you put a humidity dome over the top, basically making it a greenhouse. So I'm going to clean this one up just a little bit before I do it, but I'm going to start by getting the soil ready in here for the seeds. These 12 cell containers are really inexpensive. I want to say, God, I got a dozen from Amazon for, I don't know, probably, well, I'm not sure what it is now, but pretty inexpensive each complete set. And it comes with a humidity dome that you can open and you can close. And obviously when you start the seed, you're going to close it. As they start to grow, you can open it. And then as they germinate a little bit taller, you just remove the dome. So I'm not putting this in very firmly. These are seeds. I want them to have an easy time growing roots. All right. So again, here are the seeds. I'm going to do it on fast forward. These use surface so I'll put them on the top and I'll just tap them with my finger to make sure they have good contact with the soil. And that's it. I won't put any soil over it. Okay, so I well overplanted the seeds, but there wasn't enough really for me to save for another planting. And as I said, this is more of an experiment. LetPot versus soil now with moss roses. The other one was with dahlias and zinnias. Just to see what the difference is. All right, so I'm going to put water in this reservoir. Put this in there. It will soak water up from underneath. Actually, this reservoir looks like it's a little bent. Let me get one of the other ones. But it's going to go in the reservoir that I will get that is not melted, apparently from the sun. The dome will go on top, and I'll put it in where the LetPot is, so they'll both be in the same temperature, and the experiment will be pretty similar between both, just soil versus LetPot. So here we are in my grow zone. I'm air quoting right now. It's the bathtub. Too hazardous to get in and out of this for me and my husband. We have been shower people for the last several years. So this has become my grow zone. Now all of these shelves were completely filled this winter, over the winter. Everything has been planted out. These are more experiments I'm running at this time, as I said, and I'll show you immediately following this video. The last experiment was the dahlias and zinnias, LetPot versus soil. So we will see which one does better with moss roses. Here's an update on my last LetPot versus soil experiment. So the 5 forward of this are all dahlias. The 4 in the forward are also dahlias. These were started in the LetPot. They were upplanted into soil about a week and a half ago, and now I'm acclimating them to outside. Now, the reason why there's not a 5th on the LetPot side is my fault. I don't think I oriented the seed correctly. But you can see the side that started in the LetPot. I mean, although these are looking beautiful too, these are far more developed. Absolutely love it. I'm going to turn this around so you can see the zinnias. And this is the zinnia experiment. These 5 forward were planted directly into the soil, and these 5 forward were started in the LetPot and planted to soil about a week and a half ago, and now they're both out here acclimating. This one is a little bit closer, but the plants that are most, and this one, see, that's pretty similar, but I have more developed zinnias starting in the LetPot so far than I do starting the seeds directly in the soil. And again, we will see how these end up. I will definitely mark them in the yard where I plant them so that we can continue the comparison.